Welcome back to session 2. We now look at the types of variation. Basically, there are two types of variation. We have what referred to as continuous variation. Now, in continuous variation, individuals bearing the characteristic cannot be put in distinct groups. They cannot be put in distinct groups, that's the key one. But we have individuals at both extremes with many intermediates. That means you cannot classify the individuals into two different groups or even three groups. So we have a whole range of characteristics between the existing characteristics. That's the thing that we have individuals at both extremes with a lot of intermediates in between. Examples of continuous variation actually include the span of the hand. If you are to actually measure the span of your hand, it is actually different. There's a variation. There are those who have longer spans, others are shorter. Okay. Then if you look at the skin, the color of the skin or the skin pigmentation. Some skins are black, others are brown, light, dark, and all those. So the pigmentation is another change. If you look at the heights of individuals, some people are extremely tall, others are tall, others are medium, others are short, there are those who are average, and those who are dwarfs. So there is a whole range of change in terms of height, the length that you are likely to obtain when you take this kind of measurements. Equally, the body weight is totally different. Some people are obese, that means they are overweight, others are average, others are meaner. They are less in terms of weight, whatever high weight you are considering. If you look at the plant again, internals, of the length of the internals, when it comes to leaves, they also vary. Some are longer, shorter, medium, and the like. The length of leaves also, something else that also will give a different extreme in terms of characteristics. And of course, the size of fruits at maturity. So all these are examples of what we refer to as continuous variation. So it is actually interesting to know that these variations or these different characteristics cannot be classified into two distinct levels. When measurements of these, any of these characteristics is actually taken, it is possible to obtain the data, and then you can plot that number. The data can be used to plot, for example, the number of individuals that have been sampled against the characteristic. Now, it is interesting to note that when this one is done, we obtain what referred to as a frequency distribution curve that is, of course, obtained from the data that has been used to plot the curve. Now, this frequency distribution curve that is obtained normally gives us what referred to as a normal distribution curve with few individuals, okay, at both extremes. And the majority of these individuals will actually fall at the middle. So, for example, if you take a human height, consider human height, it has both extremes, people who are tall. For example, in this picture, you can see that the human height is continuous. You can see the height. If you take this average to be the average, the height that you are interested, see this guy is taller than that, way above, like that, and therefore we have extremes such that not all individuals are of the same height. Some are taller, some are shorter, in example. So if you consider, for example, take the data from the height of these particular people, and then we plot against the sample size, we are likely to end up with what we refer to as a frequency distribution curve, which we are calling a normal distribution curve. Now, this is the height of people and the number of the people that have been sampled. So this is a graph that is actually showing people with different heights. Now we have a majority, few people who are actually short, but at the heights, okay, is why you have a majority of people appearing in this particular section. So the extremes gives us very few people, but majority fall within this particular band here. To assume that that's a frequency distribution curve that is actually normal. The causes of continuous variation are actually because of the genes. So continuous variations are actually controlled by many genes within the body. However, the physical expression of these genes is significantly affected by environmental conditions. So although the genotype determines the outward expression, environment plays a big role when it comes to continuous variation. Now, for example, you may have a plant that may possess genetic factors for tallness, but then this plant may fail to grow tall due to unsuitable soil and climate. So in this case, although the plant is expected to be a tall plant because of its genetic makeup, it's unfortunate that this expression cannot be fully achieved because if the soils lack enough nutrients and the climate is not suitable, then this plant may not grow tall. Equally, well, you can take a case of where you have two identical twin babies. Of course, twin twins, they have similar genotypes, but they are separated and brought up in different environments. Okay, it is actually interesting to know that their genotypes are likely to be expressed differently. So note here, they have the same genotype, but the environments are different. So, for example, one of the twins may be heavier or bigger, maybe because of better diets, okay? Or one of the twins can also be more knowledgeable, possibly due to exposure to better learning facilities, and therefore, although their IQ could be the same. So you see, provision of better diet plays a big role in terms of health development, therefore getting a bigger body size, even heavier. At the same time, exposure to better learning facilities will give one an upper hand in terms of information and knowledge. So these two illustrations actually shows that the genotype can be affected by the environment where you are dealing with this continuous variation. The other type of variation, we call it discontinuous variation. Now, these are discontinuous variations are variation within a species that will show definite, distinct differences, okay, or groups of individuals with no intermediate forms. So, discontinuous variation can be actually classified into distinct units. For example, sex of human beings, where an individual is either male or female, so there is no intermediate. That's an example of a discontinuous variation. Then we also have the ABO, blood groupings. So an individual can only belong to one blood group type. You are either blood group A, AB, B, or O. There is no intermediate between those particular groupings. Another example is the earlobes, where an individual can have an attached or a free earlobe. Then there is also the aspect of possessing long hairs in the nose and the ear pinna. So either have long hairs in the nose or you don't have. The ear pinna or the earlobe also has some hairs or not. Then there is an aspect of tongue rolling. We divide people into two categories, with a tongue roller or a non-tongue roller. Then we have another very interesting characteristic. We look at the fingerprints. So fingerprints are classified into 5 different groups. You either have a looped fingerprint, the arc, double wall, or a wall. But there is no intermediate between those 5 characteristics in terms of the possession of fingerprints that you have. So characteristics that are discontinuous are actually controlled by 1 or 2 major genes. Unlike in continuous, we mentioned that those characteristics are controlled by many genes. Now, the physical expression of these genes is not influenced or is not affected significantly by the environmental conditions. So, the environmental conditions do not affect discontinuous variations. That means whether you're exposed to whatever environmental factor, your blood group cannot change. Now, this is a summary of the properties that we are comparing: continuous variation and continuous variation, the properties. Now, these categories again like that. This tends to be quantitative, this tends to be qualitative. The examples: height, weight, heart rate, and that. Turn, rolling, fingerprints, icon, and blood groups. Then representation: continuous and represented by line graph, discontinuous by a bar graph because of these characteristics. And then they are controlled by a lot of genes, by a few genes, and then there is no range of phenotype between that, like that. So those are the different characteristics that can be exemplified in those two particular categories. Now, this is another example of the variations. Same animal, but again with different features. This one is horns. Okay, this one doesn't have. So again, the presence of horns can also be controlled. This actually occurs by a dominant gene in that particular animal. We end up with a session with a question that we expect you to actually attempt. Then you can submit your answers via the Google Classroom. That's all for today.